Welcome to Spiritual Psychic with Sarah Wiseman, where you'll learn how to unlock the secrets of spiritual intuition and your own psychic gifts. Here's Sarah.
Hey everybody, I'm Sarah Wiseman. Today we're working on the idea of, do you have a new soul calling? Learn why the Aquarian age means our soul purpose has changed. And some of you guys were part of some of the Aquarian age workshops I've been doing where we're discussing soul calling and this idea that as we have shifted our age, all of the Capricornian structures have been tumbling down. So banking, politics, patriarchy, old ways of consuming, old ways of energy consumption, consumer consumption, everything shifting from one thing being in charge and everybody else scurrying to support that, and the idea of people gathering together as a collective or more like collaborators or making things together. So we're sort of coming into this new place. Aquarian age is all about humanitarian ideals, social justice, human rights, the rights of plants and animals, ecology, technology. So it's almost like the target has shifted. This is why your soul calling is different, because the goal or the target has shifted in the soul collective. Before, we were really all about building up and amassing, each person trying to build and get as much as they could. And now we're like, well, that idea doesn't really work. It's kind of like when you're playing the game of Monopoly. Some of you guys did that as kids. You're playing the board game and one person, your sibling probably is really good at getting all the properties and lining up everything so that every time you go around the board, like it doesn't work for you. Like they have it all under their control. And so they win every time. So it's like someone has gone in and kicked that board game over and said, no, we aren't doing that game anymore. Aquarian age is about that game is over. That game of one person, one group, several groups, company conglomerations, banking conglomerations, political specific groups controlling the board, that's done. And so we haven't fully seen, we're just in early times of the Aquarian age. So we haven't fully seen all the things that are going to be tumbling down. What I find so interesting is looking at history and looking at these times when these enormous civilizations suddenly disintegrated. And we don't really know why. Was it disease? Well, we've just had a big disease and the giant percentage of the population globally. Was it war? We're not immune to that. Was it one great power fighting another great power? We don't know. I mean, some things we do know, but some things we don't. Sometimes it just seemed like the civilizations were just stopped in their tracks, or in some of the civilizations, they got so big, they kind of imploded on themselves. They couldn't sustain this growth toward more in the hands of a few, and it just couldn't hold. And so it disintegrated and went back to something different. And when we look at these cycles in nature of building and destroying or growing and dying, this is just the cycle of change and how it's going to happen anyway. So we're in this very interesting place where we're coming out of the cycle of building, and we do have this very hopeful Aquarian age coming forward that's going to last at least this particular Pluto in Aquarius is going to be at least, I think, till 2043, significant chunk of our lives. And we know already that AI is here and about to change the face of everything, just as smartphones did a little while back, how quickly that went. So we know that massive shifting change is happening. We also know climate change is fully in our faces. Like we can't even pretend to deny it. It's just so much happening every single day. And we can see the sort of larger powers having some agitation, getting pretty unstable on a lot of levels. So what does this mean for you? You and I, just little people in the human population, and we used to think we were supposed to do this for our soul purpose. And now chances are good what you're doing has either changed dramatically, what you're supposed to be doing, how you're supposed to be contributing has either changed dramatically, or it's going to change in some smaller ways. So some examples of this are if you've been working at a job you really hate, and it fits into some of these ideas of separation and one company or one way of doing things or one way of having control, it would be likely that you're not going to be involved with that company anymore. You're either going to leave, or perhaps technology is going to come in and change that for you. If you're a person who maybe has been really focusing on, building wealth, maybe that's your thing, retiring early, all this stuff, that may be dramatically changing for you. It might just be no longer feeling like that's a good thing for you to just take care of yourself while all the world is suffering around you. If you're an older person, actually, let's go back. If you're a younger person who's been really slotted into these ideas by your parents or by your culture, you're supposed to do this and that, you may just decide that's not what the world needs. What the world really needs is this. That's the piece of the puzzle that I can add. And if you're an older person, and interestingly to me, in the research I was doing about trends in the Aquarian age and sort of where we are now, I believe it was only 11% of the population is over 60, or maybe it was 61, but there was a very small percentage of the population that even has some age and what we might hope to call wisdom, or at the very least age and experience. So a lot of this group is going to pass away soon or transition. This is just the natural way of things. And with those groups leaving, these large baby boomer segments, the giant parts of the population, all of those ideas are going to go too. Like we won't hold on to those anymore. And so if you are an older person, it would be wonderful to bring your life experience, your acquired wisdom, what you've released and let go of as ideas, what you know for sure, what's useful to the contribution of humanity as a whole, and find some ways to bring that forward. Like we don't really retain memory of generational wisdom once it goes. I mean, it's there and we can sort of refer to it, but it's not held in the culture. So now is the time to teach or mentor or support or say your truth and sort of allow some of this generational wisdom to be part of the culture at large. If you aren't sure of your soul purpose, let's see. If you were really sure of your soul purpose, and you used to be really sure a couple years ago, I would invite you to think about or to consider going in with the guides, meditating with the guides and asking them, how has this changed? The world is changing. I'm going to be changing with the world. So what's the new path? If you are sort of continually in contact with the guides, you might ask, what am I meant to be offering? And perhaps the equation here is, how am I meant to be offering it, as one of the ways that you change? Because as technology changes, the way we're going to communicate is going to change dramatically. We all have soul purpose. We're all here to contribute. We all have this unique puzzle piece that we can't create the puzzle without. So it's not a time to hang back. It's not a time to hide away with all this change. It's time to say, okay, I'm here. What am I supposed to be bringing to the whole? Thank you for listening. I'm Sarah Wiseman, and you'll find me at sarahwiseman.com.